CCI France, CCI France Malaysia's regional series to promote the different regions in Malaysia as an investment destination. As you all know, the focus today is Sabah. Doing business in Sabah presents a unique opportunity given its strategic location, rich cultural resources, and the diverse economic and talent landscape. And the webinar today will be exploring the business opportunities and market access available for French companies in Sabah. Before we begin, I just would like to thank our partners. This event is jointly organized together with MICCI, the Malaysian International Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Invest Sabah, and the Energy Commission of Sabah. We have experts from these organizations who will be talking directly with you today. And to start off, I would like to invite Mr. Germain from the Executive Committee of the Malaysian International Chamber of Commerce and Industry, who's also a CCIFM member. So Germain, I pass it to you.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you very much for having me. Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning if we have people attending from France. This event is a very good opportunity to talk about the state of Sabah that is part of Malaysia since 1964. To put back Sabah in its context, Sabah is the second biggest state of Malaysia after Sarawak. It's also the third most populated state after Selangor and Johor. So there is definitely a clout in doing business in Sabah. Sabah is very well strategically located on the island of Borneo, sharing borders with the countries like Brunei and Indonesia, and having a maritime border with the Philippines as well. You may know that Indonesia is also relocating its capital city to Borneo, which makes Sabah even more interesting in doing business with Indonesia. Sabah has been blessed by numerous natural resources, such as oil and gas, timber, palm oil, mining, and now Sabah's government try to diversify its industries, try to diversify its partners, and that's why France has a role to play in the development of trading and investment in Sabah. So there are many good testimonials coming after me, so I will leave the floor to Datuk from MICCI. Thank you for having me.
Right, thank you, Germain, as well as Tina. First and foremost, thank you for inviting MICCI to be partners with the French Chamber of Commerce to have this webinar and introducing Sabah. And obviously, I think you're hearing from Germain as well as Tina. Sabah, we usually call it the land below the wind. Obviously, as you mentioned, we are rich in natural resources as well as the locality within the Indo-Pacific region. Definitely, because of that, we offer a plethora of business opportunity. But to me, I think what I'll do is that I will only look at the opportunity from the sustainability perspective. And I will invite maybe Dr. Firdausi from Invest Sabah, perhaps to deep dive into more details in terms of the opportunity. So to begin with, maybe perhaps Stella, if you can share some of the slides that the participant as well as other dignitary can actually look at what we're going to share. Stella? Next slide. So looking from the sustainability perspective, Sabah is obviously very good in terms of managing its natural resources. So for instance, the Sabah forest policies in 2018, Sabah must maintain 50% of its land mass under forest reserve. So this is something that, apart from Sabah, I don't believe any other states in Malaysia has these policies. Secondly, if you look at the Sabah Gas Master Plan, it is a guide for the development of the natural gas in the state with the aim to create an attractive investment ecosystem for investor. Now, if you also look at the oil reserve, now Sabah has a substantial oil reserve, significant contributor to economic growth through oil and gas industry. Not to mention on the renewable energy initiative, where this emphasis is on the sustainable energy. And I will also touch on the green palm oil revolutions, as well as zero deforestations. Next slide, please. On the sustainable development of Sabah, now Sabah is embracing ESG principle for its sustainable development and a resilient future. And it is at this pivotal moment in its development journey, with ESG at its core, to enhance the environmental stewardship, strengthening the social fabric and governance structure. Some of the key initiatives, if you were to look at what Sabah government is trying to do, is to look at the reforestation program, where 2 million trees across degraded landscape in Sabah, and this is merely to enhance the biodiversity and contribute to carbon sequestration. Next is the industrial tree plantations. Again, this is basically to reduce the pressure on tropical timber and forests. Not to mention the renewable energy. In 2024, the renewable energy accounted for 50% of Sabah total energy production. Solar and hydro leading the transitions. Finally is the social inclusivity, where investment in critical infrastructure, educations, healthcare, and ensuring the equitable access to opportunity to all segments of this society. Next slide. Looking at the sustainable industrial growth, Sabah is making significant strides in the sustainable industrial growth in areas such as the agriculture. If you were to look at the Sabah state budget, a substantial allocations on the budget, merely to ensure the sustainable productivity and as well as the quality of its agriculture product. Now, I mentioned about the green palm oil revolutions, and this is merely on the oil palm growers are to be certified as sustainable producer by 2025. And Sabah is also looking at zero deforestations. On the oil and gas front sector, the state is also venturing into a 20 billion green steel project in Spitang Oil and Gas Industrial Park. In short, we call it SOGIP, which aims to leverage natural gas and reducing carbon emissions by 70%. On the tourism sector, Sabah is also focusing on the ecotourism, merely to safeguard its natural beauty and as well as exploring responsible tourism, and hence there is a surge in the productions of sustainable craft. On the manufacturing side, again, the Sabah government has been aggressively pushing its agenda in encouraging renewable energy and as well as development of clean energy. On the green and renewable economy, apart from the 20 billion green steel projects in Sogip, the state is also building a 1 billion ringgit Sabah Maju Jaya Renewable Energy Industrial Complex at the Sepangga Bay Container Port. We also talk about the blue economy. This is a term used to describe the sustainable and integrated development of the economic sector in a healthy oceans. As you notice in the coastal countries in East Asia, where we account for about 80% of the global aquaculture and provide the conduit for 90% of the world trade through shipping. So Sabah is exploring the blue economy, which promise great potential for the state, and that covers fisheries and agriculture, shipping and transport logistic, mineral resources, biotechnology and pharmaceutical, and the last being the blue carbon. Now, we have spoken about the opportunity. Let's take a quick snapshot as to what the challenges that Sabah will face moving forward. Next slide, please. So, looking at the challenges, Sabah would prefer to attract both FDI as well as DDI. The issue here is the lack of the skilled labor force, and as well as the infrastructures and technology, not to mention some of these friendly policies. What we need for Sabah is the upscaling of the workforce and obviously the promotions of the technology adaptations. Now, next slide. On the value add and as well as downstream industry, particularly we are talking about agriculture on the oil palm. What is lacking in the oil palm is merely the downstream processing, as well as the oleochemical as specialty fats. On the oil and gas, is what we do not have is again the downstream, which is the petroleum refinery and as well as the petrochemical industry. I'm not saying that there's none, but it's the lack of that would have add value to the economy of Sabah. On the manufacturing perspective, again, we're looking at the skill development and as well as the supply chains integrations. Next slide, please. So how do you make the conducive and business-friendly environment? If you were to look at the geographical distance and infrastructure, the cost of doing business in Sabah can be on a high side. So this is, again, what we're trying to do is to see how we can actually reduce the cost. And the other one is obviously on the regulatory framework, streamlining the regulations as well as reducing some of the bureaucracy. Now, lastly, what we also consider is the access to the finance for mainly most of the SME. Okay, next. I've mentioned about the human capital development. What we are looking at is how do we actually upskill in terms of the educations, merely gearing towards the zero unemployment rates. And obviously, what is also important is the requirements from the various industry, both existing and also new industry. Finally, I think what we have to look at is on the last slide, next slide, is on the infrastructure development. In order for Sabah to be a preferred investment destinations, government of Sabah must consciously looking at the infrastructure such as the water, the electricity, as well as the connectivity. So in order for us to be, as I said, to attract investment, I think what we need to do is to expedite into this infrastructure development in both the connectivities, seaport, airport, and as well as the rail system. That is some of my sharing for this afternoon. And definitely, if there's any Q&A or question and answer, I'll be more than happy to answer some of these questions that the audience has. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Datuk. I think maybe we can do all the question and answer towards the end of the 3 presentation. This way, whoever the question refers to, they can take the question. Without much ado, the next presentation will be from Dr. Firdausi Suffian, the CEO of Invest Sabah, and he will be presenting on the investment opportunities available for companies in the state of Sabah.
Sorry, I was talking. Sorry, I forgot to unmute. Right. Anyway, thank you so much to Thina and also Germain, of course, from CCIF in general, and also the presentation from my colleague. All right, very important man in Sabah. I think Datuk Lee have make it very succinct, the broad idea of development in Sabah. Firstly is downstream. The other one is sustainable industrial growth. So I guess Datuk Lee have made a very clear where is the directions. Of course, some challenges as well. So today, my role will be presenting the investment opportunity and some investment outlook from Sabah. So if I may share my presentation slide. So just want to check everybody can see, yeah?
Yes.
All right. Now, I guess Invest Sabah, I think not many people are aware of this new agency. So this is quite new in Sabah, but it's not really that new when it comes to Malaysia context, because in Malaysia you have Invest KL, Invest Selangor, Invest Johor. So we play the same role as well, just like investment promotional agency. So we facilitate businesses, and then we also do advisory and as well as advocate government policy, and also try to promote the overarching theme. What are the government key sectional interests to expand the economy in Sabah, right? So of course, we have a vision, basically just like what Datuk Lee have mentioned, is that we want to expand businesses. I think he frame it succinctly: sustainable industrial development, which is what the government actually focus on. So what we do actually in Sabah, Invest Sabah, is that we want to make a progressive economic progress towards a resilient, sustainable, globally connected, particularly with France, right? And also at the same time, we want to create a favorable investment climate to attract premium investment. And overall, what we want to do is to drive structural change and make sure there's an inclusivity in our economic development, sustainable, and promote digital innovation. Now, just like what Datuk Lee have mentioned just now, Sabah is very strategic geographically. If you look at it at the bottom left of the slide. So first, just like what Germain have mentioned also, the relocations of the capital city to Kalimantan. So this would make Sabah very interesting. And also, if you look at where we are located, it's pretty much very close to the emerging economies like China, Japan, and Taiwan, and the rest of most of these emerging economies. Yeah, and then well, this is what I want to give you the overview. All right, first of all, Sabah is the second largest state in Malaysia with five administrative divisions and 27 districts. So if you invest in Sabah, you just have to deal with one government and the rest, one government agency, and then the rest will be taken care of. But if in Peninsula, there are few states, there are few administrative division, there are few districts. So that make us a bit unique, right? We are the second largest population with more than 33 ethnic group. I guess this one, we are pretty much well known with that. Our social relation setup is completely different and unique in a way. We are rich resource state. And then we have the busiest airport, second busiest airport in Malaysia with more than 9 million capacity. We are an economic powerhouse, ranked between 5th to 6th in terms of GDP contribution to the country, right? And of course, something that we're really proud of, the UNESCO Geopark. It is in Sabah, all right? And then we have the Royal Society of Royal Society of Southeast Asia Rainforest Research, which is in Dunham Valley, and World Heritage Site is in Maliau Basin. If you have not seen this, if you Google, it's a breathtaking moment where you see like really level 1 protected area. It is just amazing. It's just beautiful, you know, the forests. Of course, strategic geographical location because of EMP Iaga. And of course, I fear to repeat this, gateway to emerging economies. And again, it's a top investment destination, usually ranked between 5th to 6th in the country, right? Just to give you a bit of outlook, the trading between Sabah, Malaysia, EU, and France, right? So if you look at Sabah and France, the trading in total for the past 3 years, it has been quite positive. You see, after COVID-19 2020, so you can see there's an increase of a total trade between Sabah and France. All right, so you're looking at 170 million. That one is pretty much big. Just so everybody knows that Sabah and EU, you're looking at around 5.5 billion. So EU usually rank top 5, top 4 major trading partner for Sabah alone, not for Malaysia. But for Malaysia, if you look at it, it's 219 billion as of 2020. So again, if you look at in terms of business relation, France and EU are very close, right? So what do we trade with France in Sabah? Of course, palm oil, all right? Palm kernel oil, machinery, transport equipment, manufacture fertilizer, palm-based oleochemicals, steel, and these are some the major ones. Of course, there are others, including food and some what do you call this equipment. Yeah. So, but these are the main one that we trade. So I just want to let everybody know. I think if we continue effort like this, explaining about Sabah, telling the member of CCIF, I guess this trade relation will continue to expand. We might probably gonna look at, if you look at the trend, you might probably can estimate you can go up to 200 million and more. Yeah, because the trade annual growth rate is already 35%. That is more than 1/3. Now, this is a Sabah economic indicator when we look at our GDP growth rate and also a bit of estimate. So if you look at after COVID-19, you can see there's a V-shaped curve. So once there's a V-shaped curve, it shows you that the economy in Sabah bounced back pretty much very quick. So of course, from negative 9.5, it bounced back 1, and then now 3.9%. So 3.9% is equivalent to the national GDP. So it's pretty much the economy is robust and at the same time also very aggressive as well. So this shows that the state is moving in a very positive trajectory when it comes to its development in general. So if everything's okay, if we have more investment, particularly from France, so probably our GDP growth rate will further push up to 8% in another 7 years. So this is what we estimate, looking at if everything goes well. We know geopolitical concern is there. You have chips war, and then of course there are certain rules are tightening, sanction here and there, but that does not stop Sabah to continue, to offer a place of where it is a preferred destination for investment, right? Now, this is the total trade of Sabah. So if you look at, again, for the past few years, ever since if you heard of Sabah Maju Jaya plan, so Sabah Maju Jaya plan is just like the national, you have the Madani framework, you have a new industrial master plan. So Sabah have their own plan as well. It's called Sabah Maju Jaya plan. It was introduced in 2020 with ever since the new government was elected in. So you can see that most of the plan have been carried out. And today, ladies and gentlemen, it is the first time ever we recorded total trade worth 108 billion in 2020, and it is estimated in 2023 with vast investment coming from Europe, from emerging economies just like China and Korea. So it can be higher than 118 billion. That was the first time we recorded 3-digit, right, when it comes to our total trade. So like what Datuli has said, I think what the state is currently focusing on is obviously downstream, industrial development, and also renewable energy. Now, I will explain to that later in a bit, because the state is now focusing on a structural change, because it cannot rely on too much on extractive resources activities. Economy development without economic complexity, it defeats economic development entirely. I think the experience of France development is the same as well, looking at 200 or 300 years ago. Now, investment outlook and revenue. So this is, again, if you look at Sabah approved investment for the past 5 years, it's around 62 billion. Just so you know that 62 billion is more than what we had from the federal government, particularly on our development fund, where we receive from the federal government every year. So you're looking at an average of 22%, and Sabah is one of the top investment destination. Now, looking at beyond that dotted line, this is what the estimate approved investment and its projection. Now, we have recently Kibing, who signed 7.2 billion on the solar panel. So it is estimated the investment will go up, all right, for our foreign. Just to make very clear, the one that below, that is the FDI. The one that above is the DDI, the direct domestic investment. So the FDI will go up, of course, hopefully with EU continue to invest in Sabah, and of course France for that matter. So this will push again our FDI. So as of 2023 also, the state recorded 39% of approved investment from the total approved investment in Malaysia. So that's how much, that's quite, can be considered considerable in terms of investment that flowing into the state ever since, after 2020. And because of that, this progress from our total trade and from our investment, you can see the state revenue. It went up from 4 billion to 7 billion. So that make a historic high and unprecedented, to be honest, for the past, you're looking at ever since the formations of Malaysia. Now, with that 7 billion, it gives a fiscal capacity for the state actually to focus on a more more on the ecosystem for our investment. So so hopefully with this revenue, we can expand our things just like energy and then public infrastructure. So I guess this will somehow facilitate, at least it gives some of stronger fiscal capacity for us to improve. So these are the driving growth in Sabah. So agriculture, so 16%, Sabah contributes 16% to Malaysia GDP. Tourism, it goes without saying. If you've been here before, or if you have not been here before, just look at the data. Half of the GDP in service sector come from tourism and its production network, retail, food, logistic, and then accommodation and so forth related to tourism. That's how important tourism in Sabah. Manufacturing, on the other hand, we envision to contribute 30%. Of course, to our GDP, 30% to our state GDP. And this is where this forum is so important to tell CCIF why is it so important that we want to focus on downstream industry. And mining inquiry, of course, goes without saying, this is 24% contribution to Sabah GDP. Marine economy, like what Datuk Lee mentioned, blue economy, which I will explain in a bit later, is a key driver accelerating our economy growth. And logistic, of course, this one clearly in our GDP as well, comes to transportation, digital economy, and logistic. Yeah. Now, this is the plan, Sabah Maju Jaya plan. So there are some, just so everybody know where is our direction, yeah? Where is the state is going, right? And also what are the enabler for growth like fiscal sustainability, financial, effective, efficient delivery, integrity, and digital government based on technology and innovation. So these are the areas of investment. So number one is infrastructure and utilities, manufacturing, human capital, agriculture, tourism, and blue economy. So of course, we do have incentive. Well, we have from MIDA and also from Sedia, right? Now, this is a new policy, blue economy. It was just recently launched early this year. So this is another sector that the government, by the way, we are the first state in Malaysia to introduce blue economy in this, I mean, as compared to other states. All right. Well, other country already have it. Malaysia, they do have, but it's just a draft, like more on academic paper. But the state, on the other hand, have elevated it and become a policy, blue economy policy. So this one is pretty much, I think the World Bank also have a definitions of blue economy. So we also have our own definitions of blue economy. It is in line with ESG, environmental, social inclusivity, and of course, governance as well. So, and also SDG as well. If you remember, there's 17 goals. So this one, 5, 6, 7, and 14, 15, sorry, 12, 13, 14, it hits all the box, hit those goals, yeah? Now, so this blue economy related with our marine, transshipment, decarbonization to reduce carbon footprint, and of course, most of the resources that we have within our ocean, right? Oh, by the way, we have an International Blue Economy Conference, 2nd to 4th September. I think my office will do the necessary things to give you the invitation. I hope, you know, our counterpart CCIF can join us. This is a state event, a statewide event, and it's big. And then you can see what are the policy and also the directions of blue economy, how blue economy will again push our economy into a greater heights. Now, manufacturing, this is also very important for us as well. So we want to have a structural change through downstreaming industry. Echoing what Datuk Lee has mentioned just now, Sabah is the main producer of palm oil And on average, export share of the country accounted for 49%. That's how big we are. By the way, Sabah holds 10% of the palm oil share in the world. All right, that's how big our palm oil is. Liquefied natural gas export share is 12.6%, and Sabah holds more than a third of the Malaysia oil reserve. And Sabah is the third largest contributor of the crude palm oil in crude petroleum in export share. But look, we cannot depend on all these resources most of the time. You know, we are very rich, we acknowledge that, but of course, we have to expand our downstream. So this is where the structural change agenda is so important. And we want to let all the investor and business player know that we are working on expanding our downstream. Yes, there are challenges, but the government introduced few game changer policy so that everybody know that it's setting a tone that we want to move away from all these extractive resources, because number one, we don't expand our forests anymore for palm oil, right? Because we have to reserve 2 million hectare for total protected area level 1. So we want to make sure that, and that will be a different topic because it will give you the new sector, new market for carbon credit. We'll talk about that later if we have time. So these are the game changer. State biomass policy. The government introduced a new policy where they will set a 7.5% tax and put a restriction for exporting biomass, especially from palm oil. Because the reason is we want to ensure the palm oil, the biomass industry can be expanded and will be pushed for, it will be a big push for a renewable energy sector. So, so at the same time, we want to ensure we have sufficient feedstock, right? The reason the biomass policy is always probably didn't really take off for most countries because feedstock is not properly regulated. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, we learn from Indonesia, and of course, with our forward-thinking bureaucrats, they came out with this policy. It was just 2 months ago. So this is a game changer plan. Another one is Ocean Thermal Energy Conversion Act, which is introduced 2 months ago. And then we have Sabah Energy Roadmap and Action Plan. This is where the agenda of renewable energy transition to renewable energy and to achieve the end game net zero. And Sabah Biotech Blueprint and commercial collaboration agreement with between Sabah government and Petronas. So it gives us a bit of share when it comes to petroleum, right? Now, so we have 3 industrial parks, just so everybody know. So this is KKIP, Kota Kinabalu Industrial Park. It's very close to Kota Kinabalu. It's not really far. So you're looking at less than an hour to the airport, and it's pretty much is quite big. And this is where it housed SK Nisilis, the one that produced the copper coil for EV, and then also Kibing produced the solar panel, the glass solar panel, and other companies as well in KKIP, right? So the focus of the industrial cluster is automotive, food, metal, wood-based, EV, and many more. So this industrial park, it is well, it has energy capacity like 160 kilowatt. All right, and then of course the land is still available, and we also will introduce new industrial park in Kimanis and Kota Belud, which I will show later in a bit. And this is Pitang Oil and Gas Industrial Park. So focus on oil refinery, storage, petrochemical, and utilities, right? It's really big. This one is a bit far, but I guess, I think if I'm not mistaken, they are a French company there as well, involved in the oil and gas too, right? This is POIC. If you still remember the biomass policy I mentioned just now. Well, the biomass policy, we have a national one, but the national one is just give you an incentive of 100% as a pioneer status for 5 years. But for state Sabah state, they put a restriction so that you have sufficient feedstock. And POIC will be the sole collector for all the biomass. Now, they are given a year now to make sure, because all this biomass is quite fragmented in nature, but the state government tried to streamline, and the POIC industrial park will be the place where they will collect all the biomass so that everybody can have, so it's easier in terms of logistic and also accessible, right? POIC is the only industrial park that is integrated, right? From port, upload and download, and then if you're in palm oil, and then the refinery, and all connected, all right? So this is the new industrial park, which is in Kota Belud. This is like less than, this is like 1 hour plus from Kota Kinabalu, and then the other one, Kimanis, is around approximately 45 minutes to Kota Kinabalu too. So the Kota Belud one will be big. Sorry, the Kimanis one will be big. The Kota Belud one is pretty much very close to the shore, and then it's also integrated in a way. They have their own ports, and then there will be energy generation as well. So they just want to make sure there's sufficient energy, all right, to help the industrial park, right? So the agriculture, on the other hand, of course, food is our important agenda, because we want to increase our self-sufficiency level, SSL. Well, there are a few key initiatives that we have here in Sabah. Number one, the Agro-Industrial Precinct 2.0, looking at modern farming. And then we have Halal Hub, and then meat downstream processing industry, paddy production, and integrated sustainable agro-marine hub. So when it comes to fisheries, like I say, marine economy, we are pretty much self-sufficient, and we are very proud of that. And then we are also main exporter to most markets like China, Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong. But at the same time, the domestically speaking, the state government also have its own initiative, like what I have mentioned just now. So agriculture, well, again, it goes back to tie back to food industry, right? Which we really want to expand because there's so much potential there. Service sector. So if you look at service sector, is the biggest contributor, looking at 40 billion in the state. And then the digital economy continue to expand. I think it goes without saying, any country in the world. And then logistic as well. So what we want to do is to have a transshipment hub. Sabah has 8 ports from the east, west, and north as well. And then we have the Eastern Region Trading Hub, which is Sandakan Lahadatuk Tawa, this is at the eastern part of Sabah. And then Cargo Hub. The Pan Borneo Highway is so important because this is part of building our connectivity to make the whole Sabah connected, all right? And that include Sarawak as well. So this is this Pan Borneo Highway is not just Sabah, but also Sarawak too, right?
Sorry, doctor, sorry, so sorry to cut you off, but we're really running short of time. So if you could like quickly wrap up, and then in the end, if we still have some time, we can come back to you. And of course, we can also use the Q&A session to add in a few more points.
All right, sorry.
Thank you for your understanding.
No worries. So just so you know, we have enough people skilled worker. We have 10,000 graduate annually. So it comes to human capital, I guess, is there. So I'm really sorry taking so much time. So Sabah welcome you, and we welcome your investment to Sabah. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Firdausi. We have a few speakers behind you. That's why we try to.
I'm done.
It was a very thorough presentation. And just to let you know, Doctor, we will be sharing this recording as well as the presentation to all the participants, but also on our platform for even those who couldn't attend today. Okay, so next we would like to invite Mr. Glenn Isaiah Stanley, the Assistant Director for Strategic Planning at the Energy Commission of Sabah, for his presentation.
Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, so good afternoon to everyone, and enough morning in France. So my name is Glenn from the Energy Commission of Sabah. So thank you to CCI France Malaysia and MICCI for collaborating to create this event. So for my presentation, I want to present about the Sabah Energy Roadmap and Master Plan. So this is the content of today's event. A bit of introduction about ECOS. ECOS is established on 10 of January 2023 upon the gazettement of Energy Commission Sabah. So basically, the ECOS is a statutory body under the government Sabah to regulate the energy sector in electricity, gas, onshore, and renewable energy. So what is the primary role of the Sabah ECOS? So firstly, in terms of the economic regulation, secondly, the technical, and thirdly, safety. So previously, the regulation of the energy, gas, and renewable energy will be under the purview of Suruhanjaya Tenaga and SEDA. And now the power has been transferred to the state of Sabah and will be regulated by ECOS. A bit of history about ECOS and the events. So during 2023, it was established and the gas regulator for the onshore, and the roadmap, Sabah Energy Roadmap and Master Plan 2040 has been launched by CM on the 19th September 2023. And this year, the electricity has been transferred to Sabah and renewable energy. And recently, the enactment for the Austrian thermal energy conversion enactment has been effective on the 25th April 2024. So let me explain a bit of electricity overview in Sabah. As you can see, the Sabah map, the highest demand of Sabah recorded is around 1,166 megawatt, recorded in April 2024. So the single line from west to east, only one line, 275 kV, with the average power transfer around 216 megawatt. So as you can see in the generation mix 2035, we have 1,700 megawatt installed, and the majority of the generation mix is natural gas. India and others distillate around 16%. Meanwhile, for renewable energy, only 16%, which consists of solar, 7%, bioenergy, 2%, and lastly, hydro, around 7%. So this is the natural gas view. As you can see, we also regulate gas onshore. So Petronas will be will do the exploration and production, and SEC Sabah Energy Corporation will transfer the gas to the gas customer and end users. So under the SERAM 2040, we have identified 16 strategies, which consist of energy security, secondly, equal accessibility and affordability, And lastly, environmental sustainability. So I'll go a bit to some of the strategies. Under the ethics strategies, we have to establish the resilient cross-border interconnectivity. So far, we have identified 3 country and state in Sabah, Sarawak. First, Sabah to Sarawak, connectivity. Secondly, Sabah to Palawan, Philippines. And thirdly, Sabah to North Kalimantan. The reason is to improve our system security and supply contingency. Next, identify new energy sources and technologies. So we have identified a few of renewable energies and new technologies such as wind. We have identified 100 megawatt wind power potential. Currently, a GLC has been conducted feasibility study in Northern Kudat, which we target to complete in 2025. Next, the geothermal. We first plan to revive the 100 megawatt geothermal plant at Apaskiri Tamau. And the target RFP will be by 2024. And other than that, BESS, currently the ongoing will be deployed in 2025 and 2027. For the long term, we have also identified small modular reactor SMR, which the capacity will be about up to 300 megawatt, which is still under the early planning stage, and we target to be commissioned by 2040. For hydropower, we have currently engaged with consultant McDonald to do the Sabah hydropower master plan study, which will be identify the potential and capacity of all the hydro available in Sabah. And the target completion of this study will be by 2024. And lastly, but not the ocean thermal energy conversion, we have identified around 20 gigawatt potential in the water Sabah. And we also identify offshore wind and farm hydro with 1 gigawatt potential. So maybe I go to the CY niche strategies. So this is our plan. Actually, we have launched the Selco PV in February, open to all electricity consumers to self-generate their industry using solar power. And then recently we have launched the Sabah LSS, large scale solar, quota of 100 megawatt. So all the investors with local identity, around about 30% local identity, can join the RA. Other than that, the Sabah hydropower, like I mentioned before, and we have other planning for the other renewables such as the wind and all that. In 2025, we have also planning for the RFP for the hydropower, geothermal, the BESS, and the LSS. So in 2026, another potential of the hydropower. So in the C2 strategies, to expand the use of bioenergy. So actually we have abundance of the bioenergy resource potential around 749 megawatt, which mostly contributes, the biggest contributor will be the biomass, around 561 megawatt, followed by biogas, solid gas. So as you can see, only 1.5 contribution for the Sabah mix for the bioenergy, biomass, but the barrier for this because of the remote and limitation of the grid, very far from the grid. Secondly, is the high construction cost. We need to build the high voltage infra to connect. And lastly, about competition from other biomass collection. Under the SERAM initiative, we have identified the 7 specific target. For the 2030, we plan to achieve below 100 minutes SID. Next, to achieve 100% rural electrification Sabah by end of 2030. And to achieve sustainable electricity tariff end of 2030. Next, by 2025, we plan to balance the generation fuel mix and to achieve the more than 50% capacity by 30% energy of renewable energy by 2035. To follow the national aspiration, also we try to achieve low carbon emission aspiration by 2044, and hopefully by 2050 we achieve the carbon neutrality by 2050. So this is the at the right hand side the presentation. As you can see, the gas is the major capacity research in Sabah, and the other renewable energy. So we are planning to increase the generation mix using the renewable energy in future, and hopefully we achieve it by 50% capacity in 2035. So this is also our planning for short term, medium term, and long term. So a bit of introduction about the industrial park in Sabah. Like Sabah mentioned previously, we have 4 existing industrial park, which is the CCIFM, Songit, Sawit Kinabalu, which is the PIC also, and PIC in Lahadatu. They have the power supply, natural gas for all the industries and nearby airport. But for the East Coast side, for the gas, we have the virtual harness system, which distribute and compress the. Besides that, we have a competitive and attractive program and features for customers, such as the tariff. We have the competitive tariff compared to other nations. And then we have the self-consumption, self-co program, and a renewable energy certificate, which the electricity consumer can purchase directly from the renewable energy. And also just announced recently by our Chief Minister, the self-generation. The investor can use their self-generation for their facility own use. I think that's all my presentation today. For any information question, you can directly contact. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. Very interesting and very promising for French companies.
Yes, thank you very much, Glenn. Gemma, what do you think? Do you think we should do the Q&A for the presenters now, or do we finish with all the testimonials and then?
I think we finish with testimonials first, because we have 2 or 3. There's 3 testimonials.
Yeah, there's 3 testimonials. Okay. Of course, the webinar will not be complete without hearing from French companies who are already either based in Sabah already, or somehow doing business in Sabah, or setting up their business in Sabah. So first, we would like to invite Mr. Olivier Monceau from Club Med to do his testimonial. Glenn, can you stop sharing the screen?
And Olivier, you are muted.
Yes, sorry. Can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll be really short. For those who don't know, first of all, thank you for the invitation to the French Chamber of Commerce and for the very interesting presentation. For those who doesn't know Club Med was created in 1950, so like 74 years ago. Why Club Med became very successful? Because it invented the all-inclusive concept. Most of you know the mini club also. The key decision for us to choose a resort, it has to be exceptional. That's the reason why we have today 70 resorts and not 10,000. We employ 20,000 GOs. GOs means gentil organisateur. We don't call our employee, but gentil organizer, as we called our guests, clients, GM, gentiment. We had an exceptional year last year, 2023, with over 1.7 billion euro of turnover. Our first resort in Asia was built in Cherati, so in Malaysia. It was in 1979 with 80 hectares of jungle that are protected. So our next project is Kota Kinabalu. Sorry for the mistyping here. Kota Kinabalu, and we are planning to open next year, probably second semester. I will go very fast now with the presentation and maybe highlight two or three points. So this is the view of where the resort will be, is under construction today. So it's about 400 rooms. It will be an all-inclusive, eco-friendly beachfront resort. We are located in around 90 minutes driving, maybe a little more, from Kota Kinabalu airport. And we have around 17 hectares, among which a lot of the territory is not under any construction, but to be protected. We are going to offer several types of rooms. Like I said, 241 will be superior, 60 deluxe, and 39 exclusive collection suite, which will be in our resort in Malaysia, the first exclusive collection type of room. In the design, you will recognize a lot of local inspirational touch to make sure we really characterize the design into the local identity. We will, of course, have different facilities offering the main restaurant, which is offering a large buffet choice, and also we have a gourmet restaurants with fine dining, and we'll look at developing local specificities to offer to our clients. I'm not going to go through all the standard sport and activities we are offering. Among those which are specific to Club Med, trapeze circus, but we will also have wall climbing, and we will launch also paddle tennis and many other activities, among which, of course, the spa by Club Med. Like I said, we invented the mini club, so obviously we will have dedicated program for kids, baby first, for 4 months to 3 years, then mini club 4 to 10 years, and also for the teens 11 to 17 years. We've been spoken a lot about sustainability. I want to say that for us it's a key element, not only in terms of communication but actions. We created the foundation in 1978, foundation which is all around aspect of sustainability. So it didn't start yesterday, it started many years ago. We've segmented it across construction, and we have today all our new resorts under the BREEAM Eco-certified equivalent, which of course will be Kota Kinabalu. Also around many actions in operation through the certification Green Globe. And we are also very focused on the food waste management. Other actions around extended producer responsibility, bye-bye plastic, so no more plastic in the rooms. Green Farmers Program, which is essential for us, which will promote the possibility to reduce the supply chain and give an opportunity for local farmers to produce vegetables and other types of products, which will respect Club Med specification and give an opportunity for farmers to grow their business. Also, animal welfare. So many actions that we are not going to develop anymore to protect the local fauna, and also a lot of activity we share together also with our guests, which is, for example, cleaning beaches and debris from public spaces and also our beaches. Like I said, foundation was created in 1979 and also aimed to help children and school surrounded our resort. So we invite the kids to visit our resort. We also co-finance some of their needs to guarantee a successful scholarship. For us, what is essential today, of course, will be the successful launch of our resort. But you probably know that the specificity of Club Med is this multiculturality. So we still have like 75 to 80% of local employees, but we want to keep this balance and invite also around 20-25% of international geo to give this international vibe very specific to Club Med. Which on the other way, what we are doing, and we are doing it with charting, is to contribute all our local employees to give a chance also to travel in all our resorts across the world, to discover a new country, new languages, and eventually come back to their countries with new experiences to share and grow in their career. Second thing which is essential for us, of course, will be the infrastructure to make sure we have larger roads so we can assure a fluid traffic from and to our resort to the airport. Eventually relocation of the airport of KK, if this is a plan which is still actual, to the south of KK, will be for us, of course, benefiting to us to reduce the time of transit to our resort. We are planning to launch a major event probably in Q1 25 to announce the official launch of KK, something we probably do in KL, but where we will want to make this event to promote Sabah talent, famous or maybe less famous around food, art, craft, also showing the specificities of and the singularity of ethnies, and of course to use this event to flagship not only obviously and put forward the Club Med, but also the destination itself, how rich and the variety of the beauty of the landscape, to raise also the awareness of the importance to protect the wildlife and the flora. So every topic on sustainability. So if association, I don't know if Sabah Invest is a part of it or any other who are maybe interesting to support this type of event, where obviously we want to invite lots of people and VIP influential people to promote Sabah among not only our clients but larger public, and like I said, not only Club Med itself but the whole destination. I try to make it as short as possible. and I hope you could hear me well. Thank you.
Thank you, Olivier. Thank you. Very clear.
Yes, thank you, Olivier. I think without, we will move to the next presentation, next testimonial by Dr. Aurelien Buteri from Botanickel.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I will try to do really short because we are running out of time. I will do a pitch like any startup. I will try. And I would like to thank you first for the presentation we just had from Datuk, from Dr. Firdausi, and also from ECOS, because I think Botanickel is doing the link between the different sustainable targets and roadmap, and the roadmap of Sabah on different topics, on agriculture, on the energy part, but also on ecotourism. But the main question, of course, you must have is what we are doing. So Botanickel, basically, we are a farmer. That's quite easy. But we are a new kind of farmer. We are not cultivating standard crops. We are cultivating in Sabah some major crops, I would say, some plants having the capacity to hyper-accumulate the metals. And as suggested by the name of the company, we are cultivating nickel. So we are developing the activity of metal farming to extract nickel from soil containing, of course, naturally this nickel with plants native from Sabah. So we are using the resources, the beautiful resources of the islands to extract in a sustainable way the nickel we need. And the chance we have based on these plants, we have the chance to produce at the same time renewable energy in line with the ECOS, with the Energy Commission of Sabah, and targets and requirements and the roadmap mentioned just previously. So we are developing this new sustainable activity around the agriculture, the culture of these plants, and all the transformation inducing the production of this renewable energy in Sabah. So we decided to come here for, of course, for the presence of this soil containing the nickel, for the existence of these plants that we identify, our team identified these plants, discovered these plants 10 years ago now. And also because it exists other places in the world where we could develop the activity. But in Sabah, as you also hear, we are sharing the same value, the same vision for the future in terms of transition and in terms of community involvement, in terms of ecotourism, in terms of energy transition. So it was quite obvious for us that Sabah could be the perfect place to become the pioneer in this kind of activity, what we are calling the metal farming activity dedicated to the nickel extraction. And I think I will maybe answer questions if there are some questions in the audience, but I think I finished, and it was a really short testimonial.
Thank you, Aurelien.
Okay, thank you very much, Aurelien, and thank you for being very swift as well. Next, I think we're going to have Mr. Jerome Grandchamp, the Managing Director of Seatech Engineering, for our final testimonial before we open to the Q&A session.
Okay, good afternoon, and thank you very much, everyone. Thank you to the Chamber of Commerce and Germain. Okay, I will try to be short as possible, shorter than Aurelien as well. Okay, just to introduce you, Seatech Engineering. Seatech Engineering and Maintenance is a company established in 2016 in Kota Kinabalu. Our office is in KKIP, so just mentioned earlier, Kota Kinabalu and Industrial Park. And our main activity is to do service and maintenance on marine. Marine means Royal Malaysian Navy, police vessel, maritime vessel. So what we are doing basically is we are doing the refit and maintenance on some vessels, electrical maintenance, electronic maintenance. For now, almost 1 year, we start to work with Petronas, officially registered with Petronas as vendor. And with Petronas now we are doing some scope of work because the boom of Petronas in Sabah water and Sarawak water makes us very busy on some niche market as decommissioning the old field, because there is a numbers of old wells around Sabah water, and we have to decommission all that. So that is part of our activity. And we are also doing some other activity with Petronas, more technical. Seatech is quite attached to work with local industry and local partners or actors. That's why Seatech works a lot with schools and uni and school in Sabah, as UMS, Polytechnic. Why? It's the way for us to take a lot of trainee and to take some young students just finish their course, in order to bring them in the real industry and to work with them, to show them the real industry in Sabah. So that is we are very attached for this kind of partnership with school and uni. Also, Seatech is working with some European and French companies. We bring with us for our activities some companies as Marinelec in Brittany, who is doing some, it's a small company, we call that SARL in France. It's a small company doing equipment for vessel or for oil and gas, as a fire alarm system or this kind of system. We also have signed a couple of agreement and MOU with some other companies, as Geotech, also a French company, Secums from a French company for valve and other equipment. All these equipment are for marine and also oil and gas. We also we are partner and we are working in collaboration with Carrier. Carrier is a group well known by in the industry, because we are the one recognized and representing Carrier for all the industrial aircon or industrial pumps for different equipment, oil and gas, or can be industry, can be hotel, can be mall, so different application. Seatech Engineering is very active company. We try to bring and to have more and more French or European actors. But for us, the more important is not only to be a broker with all these people, because most of the time industrial European or international industrial come from in Sabah to propose some product and to ask help to sell products. So Seatech is more in another way. We want to see the opportunity differently, and that's why we are pushing to get more some transfer of competence or transfer of technology with some overseas company. This is for Sabah. And it's something that if we bring Sabah more knowledge, expertise, and the skill of the young Sabahan people will be higher, and with create more opportunities and create for them better chance to stay in Sabah. Don't move, don't run away in Singapore or KL. That's what's happening today. Today is very difficult to find a good engineer or a good engineer in Sabah, and to keep him in Sabah is quite difficult and challenging. So that is what Seatech is trying to do. Also, yes, something important also, we just signed a couple of months ago, we did a startup with a French company. We have invested in a startup in artificial intelligence. And now we have, for a couple of months, developing a software very unique in Malaysia. I would say in Malaysia, yes, it's a unique software technical for the NDT. NDT is a non-destructive test with AI. Means we want to bring this intelligent artificial in Sabah, and we want to develop this AI by Sabah with European company, because we need also all the knowledge and also the skill of international to develop something able to be fit in oil and gas or in industrial in the big industries. So I hope that I will not be too long, and thanks for for this event. Thank you very much to CCI, and I sure if you have any question, come back to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerome. Thank you very much.
So thank you again, Jerome. Germain, maybe now we can move on to the quick Q&A session, just very quickly to take maybe 2 or 3 questions maximum, and before we do the summary. So for those who have any question, you can share the question using the Q&A button at the bottom, or the chat box or whatever, and we'll pick it up from there so we can answer your question. But before that, I have a question for Dr. Firdausi. Sorry again, we had to cut short your presentation, and we're going to share the presentation with everybody. But looking into all the new development that is coming into the state of Sabah, and especially around KK with the new Club Med opening and so on, is there any plan for a new airport in KK or around? Yeah.
That is a good question.
Yeah.
Just so you know, in Southeast Asia, there is no airport that is so close to city like 5 minutes, only in Kota Kinabalu. So that is actually our comparative advantage. If you can name one, I can give you 100 ringgit now. So for us to relocate, well, there are plans, but I guess so far with the 9 million capacity, well, they are here and there plan talk about. Oh, sorry. So there are plans that actually talking about relocating the airport, but so far I think we will stick with the current airport according to our chief minister's according to our chief ministers, and also the plan that he has currently. So I guess we will stick with the airport now. There's no relocation, but we don't know. But so far, there's no relocation.
Thank you very much, Doctor. I'm not receiving any questions on the Q&A box. I think the presentation was very much in detail. If any of the panelists or Germain, if you have any question, please go ahead, or else we proceed to do the summary.
No, I don't have questions, but maybe I can wrap things up. So thank you all the panelists for this very interesting testimonials and information sharing, and for all the audience. I hope it was interesting for you as well. You had the feedback from both public and private sectors. You can see Sabah is a very dynamic state. There are some priority sectors, but there is definitely enough space for multinationals, mid-sized companies, SMEs, and startups to be involved in the Sabahan ecosystem. Tina, you wanted to mention about the potential mission in the next few months?
Yes. So the main aim of having this webinar is more of like a teaser for our members to get to know what Sabah has to offer. And following this, usually we will do a business trade mission to Sabah. And we are closely looking at the possibility of doing one during the Sabah International Blue Economy Conference. It is a little bit closer to the summer break and when people are returning. So, but we will look into the possibility of doing one then. If it's not, it will be towards the end of the year. We will work closely with all the agencies that was present here, MICCI, Invest Sabah, and also ECOS to plan the trip for Sabah. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So I think with that, Germain, we have come to the end of the webinar. And just a reminder, we will share this recording with everyone. And we will also share the presentations that was made today with everybody. And if you need any information, do not hesitate to contact us. We would be able to help you or put you in touch with the right agencies.
Yes.
Okay. Have
Thank
a good
you.
evening, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. So maybe on behalf of the Sabah government, we definitely welcome any parties from the France or from anyone who wants to visit. I'm sure Dr. Firdausi will be there waiting for all the potential investors coming to Sabah. We definitely welcome each and every one of you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'll make sure
Yeah.
the time management as well is good. Comes to presentations. My apologies, though.
No worries,
problem.
no worries. It was very interesting. So I just wish we had a little bit longer time, but this is not our first and last collaboration. We are looking forward to more things. So definitely there will be another opportunity for them to hear from Invest Sabah.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone, and have
Everyone.
a nice evening.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.